welcome to another edition of Everyday Therapy, and we are glad to have you with us as we're talking a lot about, in general, dialectical behavioral therapy. Man, that is a mouthful.
Can you remind me what dialectical means?
Yes, I can. I'm glad you asked. Dialectical, it's different from diabolical.
I was just going to say, someone recently was listening to the podcast, and I was like, which episode? And they were like, it's a diabolical. I was like, dialectical?
Somebody said that to me, too.
Okay. That's why I'm like, let's go over it just really briefly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not diabolical.
It's dialectical.
Right. Diabolical is something that you attribute to all the criminals and villains against, the superheroes.
Correct.
So they're diabolical.
Yes.
That's not for us in DBT.
Right.
It's dialectical. And that means we can hold two things together at the same time that seem opposite, that seem untrue.
Yes.
They just can't go together. And it's the opposite of how we naturally think, which is dichotomous, all or nothing.
Nothing, right.
It's right or it's wrong.
Right.
You're for me or you're absolutely against me. I can trust you or I absolutely cannot trust you.
Yep.
And so when we're having a lot of mental health illnesses that are causing problems for us, we especially think in these all or nothing kind of categories, and it raises depression, anxiety, anger, etc.
Yep.
So it keeps relationships on the rocks, and we want to move to a balance.
So quick example is if let's say I have plans with my friends this weekend.
Okay.
And I come to you and I say, Brett, I have plans with my friends this weekend. I'm so tired and I don't really want to go.
Yeah.
But my friends are going to be disappointed with me. So I can, do you see, what was the noteworthy word in there?
The but.
Yeah, the but.
Absolutely.
So instead I can, because those seem like two things that can't both be true, right?
Yes.
Or that I don't want both to be true. Right?
Yeah.
So instead I can say, I have plans this weekend with my friends. I really am too tired to go, and it's okay if my friends are disappointed with me.
And it is. It's okay.
And if my friends are disappointed, I can handle that.
Yes. Yeah. And if my friends are disappointed, or
they're
my friends are disappointed, and I'll be okay, and we'll be okay.
Right. So it's like you can add as many ands as you want. Because there's a bunch of things that can be true at once. And
it's important that we do have that. Mm-hmm. So a big one that we talk about in DBT is life can be very painful, and my life can still be worth living.
Ooh, I love that.
The two do coexist.
Okay, good point. Because a lot of times people want to say life is so painful, it's not worth living, right?
Right. Yes, it's not worth living, and it makes sense that we do feel that way, and it does feel that way, and it is still worth living. Mm-hmm. So what we're talking about today is like three ends, like trilectical, isn't it?
Did you say trilectical. Yeah, right.
I heard that. So we can in our interpersonal effectiveness unit that we're kind of talking about, we can have self-respect, which we talked about a couple times ago, which is the fast skill we use. We can practice self-respect and work to maintain relationships with people using the give skill. And we're talking about today how to get what you want out of a relationship all at the same time.
Love it. Because we've covered fast, which is how to preserve your self-respect.
Yes.
We've talked about give, which is how to preserve the relationship. I mean, you're preserving all at all times with these skills. It's just kind of like, here's one approach, here's another. So fast, give, and what's today?
It's called the Dear Man. And it's an acronym.
Are you talking about a deer like with antlers? A deer man?
No, I'm not. It's deer as in like Dear Abby.
Okay, so DEAR.
DEAR, and it's an acronym. We'll go over that. And DBT, ironically, is acronym Palooza. So it's easy to kind of forget, what all these acronyms are. So you might want to actually write this one down today. Okay. Or just listen to it again and again. And
this is great.
The Dear Man is really about getting what we want in a relationship. A lot of times we don't feel like we can ask for what we want. We feel like we almost have to apologize for wanting something, or apologizing for feelings that we might have. Right. And that's why in that fast skill, we don't apologize for those things. Yep. And we can actually say, this is what's really important to me.
Yep. I love this because if you're going in knowing that you have a certain thing you want,
yes,
it helps you be more intentional.
Yes.
Because how many of us go into a conversation or a situation where we're like, okay, I want this outcome. And then by the end of the conversation, we're like, wait, that didn't happen at all. But with these skills, it's like, okay, I know my primary purpose sort of going in. Right.
Yeah, and I like that because sometimes with our problems, it's ready, fire, aim.
Exactly.
And what you're suggesting is let's just identify what the problem is first.
Yeah.
Before we come up with solutions.
Right.
And it really helps. And this is not rocket science. It is hard, in particular, to know what we really want. So I'll come to that in a minute.
Okay.
So let's talk about this.
Okay.
And some people suggest you start with the A in the Dear Man. I'm not going to make it any more complicated. So
why do they want?
Well,
why would we go in order?
So it just because it helps, I think, alleviate a little anxiety when we start with the A. Okay. So let's start with the D.
Let's go in order.
All right. So D. Let's say you want something, okay? And I'm going to make it really simple. Let's say I want to return something to the store.
Ooh, I like it already.
And so...
Because it seems simple.
It does seem simple.
Sometimes it's not.
It's a little bit nerve-wracking for some of us. And it's a simple illustration. So the D stands for describing the situation with facts. Now, you might have something you want to bring up with a family member or coworker or your boss or an employee, and you want to describe the situation with facts.
Nice.
So facts are key. Now, it's difficult, though, because we want to describe things oftentimes with judgments and interpretations. So a fact is something that you and the other person can agree on. So you describe things factually. And to know if it's a fact, you know that, okay, this person would agree with what I'm saying. So if I were to say, hey, I need to talk to you because you are always late. Now, notice that's an all or nothing category.
Yes.
Like if you're an employee that works for me and I say, you're always late to the office.
Yeah, they're not going to be in the mood.
Right.
They're going to be like, always? No, I'm not.
Right. I'm not using the give skill because I'm not being very gentle.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so, and it's an all or nothing thing.
Yes.
And I'm putting you on the defensive. So I want to describe it with facts. I can say, hey, I noticed you were late over the last 3 months. You were late out of those 12 weeks, you were late 9 times.
Okay.
And that it was, you came in at this time and this time and this time. And
yes.
So I wanted to talk to you about that. Those are the facts.
Yep.
But if I come in and say, hey, you're late like all the time, suddenly we have a debate going on.
Right.
But if we can start with the facts and we both agree, hey, we're off to a good start.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay. So far, so good.
Yeah, we don't want people to be defensive, so you also want to avoid, just as a little caveat to this, don't use you statements. You are always late.
Oh, okay.
Okay, try to start with, I've noticed this, and
good.
I've taken some notes that, when you're coming to the office, it's been late.
Okay.
But I'm trying to avoid the you statement because it puts you on the defensive.
Okay, so the D is describe.
Right, describe. Then... now we get to the A or the E. Yeah, I can spell. Yeah. So
spelling.
We get to the E. See, I'm anxious and eager to get to the A, but the E. So what does the E stand for?
Express.
All right. So I want to express, and now we move from facts more to feelings. Okay. This is kind of what's going on inside of me.
Right.
So this is key. When we do this, I'm trying to address me and what's going on with me. I'm not making this about you. And that's what a lot of times we do. When we want something, we anticipate resistance or whatever. And so we make it about the other person, but we need to make it about ourselves.
Yes.
And talking about ourselves and what is my emotion, subjectively, what's going on with me. In other words, how do the facts impact me? Okay. So I might have my my item that I want to return to the store and say, factually, like, this really just doesn't fit, and I need a larger size or a smaller size.
Yep.
And I can say it's frustrating because I was really looking forward to wearing it, and that's okay. Now I'm just telling them very simply,
the situation,
the facts,
and
how I feel about it.
Great.
Yeah, I'm really frustrated.
Yep.
Not that they care.
Sure.
But other people do when we're talking to them. And who cares most about our emotions? Hopefully we care about our emotions. This is me taking care of my emotions, right?
Yep, totally.
So this is the E. We're really talking about how I'm being affected by this. If you're talking to your partner, it's really important that we talk about feelings, because when we're talking about our feelings, we're identifying them. It helps us to bring down the intensity a little bit, but it also affords connection, because this is more intimate when we're talking about our feelings, and we can validate each other's feelings. We just talked about validation last time in the give skill.
Yes.
We're actually entering into a deeper level of intimacy. And a lot of people so sadly think intimacy is about sex.
Right, which it's not.
It's not. Intimacy is really about an emotional nakedness, if you will. And so that's why it's important. The deeper the relationship, the more important we are able to identify and talk about those feelings, because it affords that sort of emotional intimacy and connection.
Perfect.
So.
Okay, are we ready for the A?
I'm ready.
Time?
Hold on, let me grab my seat here. Okay.
I'm buckled in.
Yeah, the A. Okay.
The A, assert.
Assert. What does that mean?
Well, I think it's where you come out and say, this is what I want.
Yes.
You just are out with it.
Assert, right? So, which is short for being assertive.
Yep.
Now, really quickly, what does it mean to be assertive? I always say to be aggressive. Assertive and all this is about control.
Okay.
To be aggressive, I'm trying to control you.
Okay.
If I'm passive, I let you control me.
Okay.
But if I'm aggressive, I control myself.
You mean assertive?
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Aggressive.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
If I'm being assertive, I'm just trying to control me. I'm not trying to control you out of being aggressive, not letting you control me by being passive.
Okay, perfect.
So that's what we're talking about here. So it's like not to freak people out, but it's like your thesis statement. Okay.
Nice.
This is kind of like that problem statement a little bit too.
Like this is the core of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
So it's like, what do I really want, or what do I really need?
Mm-hmm. I would really like a full refund for this item.
Yes. Okay.
Like if we're doing the return.
Exactly.
Right.
It's very clear there.
Yep.
And so that's easy to understand.
Okay.
In a relationship,
it's a little more complicated.
It's very complicated.
Right?
I don't know what I want most of the time.
Yeah. I know what I don't want. Which is for you to do that thing that bugs me, right?
Right, yes. Yeah, my wife asked me, where do you want to go to dinner? I don't have a clue. I don't know what I want. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I feel. I don't know what even my opinion is sometimes.
Right.
But notice we're trying to get something that we think we need or want, but we don't know for sure. And we have to be specific.
Yep.
So it's my life. When we think about assert, we're thinking, this is my life. I need to assert it and go and get what I think I need or want without apologies.
Great.
So if I'm going to assert, I'm going to let you know, this is what I think I need. I think I need you to be more supportive of me.
Okay.
Now, that sounds nice. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like that is what I need. What's the potential problem? If I say, hey, I need you to support me, well, what does that mean?
Right. It's not specific enough.
Right. Mm-hmm. So someone could say to their dad, like an adult could say to a dad, like, hey, I need you to support me. Mm-hmm. And the dad says, what do you mean? I pay your rent every month.
I am supporting you.
I'm supporting you. What are you saying now you need? You need more money?
Right.
And the person might be thinking, well, I need you to support me by giving me a hug, by validating me, even if you don't agree. Mm-hmm. So what does support mean?
Right.
So I could take my item back to the store and say, hey, this is what's going on. Yeah, it doesn't fit. I'm really frustrated. I need your help with this.
I really need your support.
Right. I really need you. Can you support me in this? Right. And they'd be like, sure.
Right.
And
you got to be specific.
Right,
I would like you to refund me for this item. Yes. I would like a refund, please.
Yes.
Yep.
So
great.
We have to be really clear. And we're not trying to be a jerk or anything like that. It's just, I think people a lot of times want to help us. They want to support us. They want to give us what we need. Mm-hmm. And they don't know specifically what does that mean? What does that look like? How do I do that?
Right.
So I could say, hey, to my wife, hey, I got an itch on my back. Mm-hmm. I really need you to support me with that. Mm-hmm.
Moral support,
right? Yeah, she could validate and say, "Wow, that must be hard for you."
Yeah, sounds uncomfortable.
Right, and I get a little ounce of, "Okay, thanks," and
yes,
why aren't you more supportive?
Yes, right.
So that means I need to give more direction. I need to give clarity, and that's what we do. It's like, can you scratch my back? Nope. Up higher to the left. Oh, nope. A little higher, more to the left, higher. Oh, right there. Now, isn't it funny? We have no problem
with that.
But when it comes to an emotional need, then we feel so super apologetic.
We're like, oh, I'm so sorry, hesitant. I need it.
Yeah, like we apologize for it.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is trying to be specific, not because we're being a jerk or high maintenance. It's just like, I believe you're the kind of person that wants to give me that.
Right.
What I need. So being assertive, to assert means to control yourself and be really clear about what you think you need or want. So
perfect.
Let's go on to the R. The R is kind of a sales technique. It's well, I know, yeah. You wouldn't think so.
I missed my calling as a salesperson.
Yes. And we all do when we don't really use this when trying to get what we want. The R stands for reinforcement. Okay. We want to reinforce to this other person why it's in their best interest to give you what you want.
Okay. Love it.
So, like, I take my item back to the store and say, hey, I really, sorry, this doesn't, no, I don't even have to say I'm sorry. I can say,
this doesn't fit.
I need to return this for my money. It doesn't fit. Mm-hmm. And kind of frustrating. I was hoping it would. So can you give me a full refund for that, please? And this really, I appreciate being able to come here. You guys have such a nice return policy. It makes me want to keep coming back. Now I reinforced
that was good. Before they even
had a chance to say no.
Ooh, I like that.
So, and notice this can be one sentence. This isn't like...
I was going to say, just right there, that summary, you use DEAR.
Right.
All 4 of those right there.
But I do encourage people, because this is so important. It's what we think we want and need. If we don't get it, we tend to get resentful.
True.
It's important to be really crystal clear and succinct.
Yes.
Because people will tune us out if we're too wordy.
Exactly. Yep.
So that's the dear part of the dear man.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about the man.
Okay.
The man is, how do I go about doing this?
Okay.
Okay. Now the M stands for being mindful. Okay.
Okay.
Mindful. What do I want?
Right.
What I want is a full refund.
Yes, that's your goal. That's what you came in.
That's what I want. So I go in. Now, what we do is we say we can do the dear part really well. It's succinct. It's clear about what we want. And then people kind of get us off track and be like, well, sir, I understand you want your money back. That's not our policy.
Right.
Now I'm tempted to kind of debate them about their policy. Well, what kind of policy is that? Do you realize if you have that policy, people aren't going to come here, they're not going to buy things. I can't believe, how many times I've come here, sir, I'm sorry, that's not our policy. And now what
you're
am I
off
doing?
To the races.
I'm way off talking about something that's not even what I'm there for.
Well, and if this happens with the person behind the counter at a store, think about how much it happens with people we love.
Right.
Because they know us and they're comfortable with us. And it's like, let's get in an argument right now.
Yeah.
So you have to stay mindful.
Yeah.
Right?
People get defensive.
Yeah.
And so we respond to their defensiveness rather than keep focused on what we really want. So keep focused, be mindful.
Someone might try to change the subject.
Oh my goodness.
Or be like, I gotta, do this other thing. And so it's,
So
focused, mindful.
It's kind of like a broken record. Back when there were records and there was a scratch in the record, it would just keep playing itself over and over and over and over again.
I love it.
And kind of annoying.
Sure.
But so it's, hey, I need you to refund me my money, please. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not our store policy. Oh, yeah, I get that. So you lead with validation. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And I'd like my money back. Well, I'm sorry, that's not our store policy. Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, I get it. Thanks for sharing that. And really would like my money back.
That was a good and right there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, sir. Our manager is the only person who can do that. Sure, yeah, that makes sense. And I really would like to have my money back. I'm here to get my money back. That's why I'm here. I really appreciate your help because, I come here a lot and I know you want to keep your customers happy and that's why I want my money back.
Yep.
Well, why wouldn't you we have other ones here that, we probably have your size. In fact, I can see your size is here, so why don't you just go get another one? Yeah, I'm sorry, I want my money back. Mm-hmm. And oops, I said sorry. You don't have to apologize.
You don't have to apologize.
So it's continually coming back and saying it over and over and over and over and over again because it's so easy to get off track and have a conversation about something else.
Get distracted, yep.
You get distracted and you don't get what you want.
Right.
So that's the D.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's
M.
the M.
The M.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with my spelling today.
It's okay. I'm here to keep you on track.
Thank you. What's the A?
Stay mindful. The A is appear confident.
Appear. That's the key word. Appear confident.
Okay.
Because, you can maybe feel and appear confident taking something back to a store, but talking to your partner, talking to your boss, talking to an employee can be kind of anxiety producing. And so we want to appear confident. What does that mean? What does that look like?
I would say, again, body language, right? Kind of having your voice is confident and clear. Mm-hmm. You're maintaining eye contact.
Yes.
You probably have your shoulders back. You're not kind of, slumped over like, oh.
Right, yes.
You don't mumble.
I
was wondering if I could maybe sort of kind of get my money back. Right.
If it wouldn't be too much bother, I'd sure appreciate it. Because really, I'm sorry I even have to bother you.
Right.
With this and,
just,
And right to the point.
Yep.
That's where it's nice to just have this written out, exactly what you're going to say. Maybe you rehearse it.
Yep.
And you appear confident. Everything you said, look them right in the eye. You rehearse it. I'm going to look them right in the eye. I'm not going to waver. I'm not going to mumble.
Yep.
And be, and you might inside be even stressed out.
Yep.
If you're talking to your boss about getting a raise, this is great. It shows that you're very confident in yourself and you're not apologizing for having a need or a want.
Right. I love it.
All right. So that takes us to
N.
N is negotiate.
Okay.
So we don't want to make this an all or nothing scenario, right? We talk about being dialectical and avoiding all or nothing approaches. So even with what we want, we do want to try to get what we want, and
we can negotiate?
We can negotiate.
Okay.
And maybe there's a middle path option where I can get what I want, and maybe you can get a little bit of what you want. So we have to come into this with this mentality of, okay, well, let's talk about this. So you want your mom to come spend the holidays with us. Okay, I don't know if I want that. I'd like her to not be here for the holidays because I get really stressed out when she's here.
Okay.
Well, how do we negotiate about this? Could she, you're trying to find a middle ground. It's not a win-lose scenario. It's not an either or. It's a both and.
We both get some of what we want. Okay.
So you're looking like, well, okay, but how about this? How about, what really stresses me out is that she's here for so long and it's fine for like the first 2 days and then like I get really stressed. So maybe she's here for those 4 days and like after 2 days I go and I spend some time with my brothers or my friends or something like that.
Yeah.
You're getting what you need, I get what I need, and we're trying to find a mutually agreed upon solution.
Right.
So we do negotiate, and if we're doing it in the mindset of, well, hey, I want you to get what you need, and I want to also get what I need.
Right.
We're going to be much more amicable, less emotionally intense, because it's just all in a good kind of nature.
Yep.
What happens, though, is some people are just absolutely resistant. They don't want to negotiate. Ooh, I love this. This is so fun. So you turn the tables on them.
Okay.
And you just say, oh, okay. So after you're exhausted trying to negotiate and they're just shooting down everything you say.
Okay.
Like even with a boss, let's say you're asking for a raise and they say, oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. You do this. You say, oh, okay. Well, what's your solution?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, because otherwise you're keeping all the onus of responsibility and pressure on yourself. And that's what people do. They're not aware, but that's what they're doing. They're avoiding any responsibility. And that's why they're not really willing to negotiate. And so you are willing to negotiate, but if you run into this where it's just they're stonewalling you,
sure,
you just say, okay, yeah, well, why don't you tell me what your solutions are? And then you do not say anything.
Then you zip it.
Right.
Yep. And let them come up with something.
Yeah. So this is the Dear Man, and I encourage us to write this out. If you're
I was going to ask if you encourage that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Write it out. And it really only needs to be a sentence or two. You can do it and try to get it down. If you're like, well, this is a paragraph. Okay, then you got a problem. Try to get down to one sentence if possible, 2 at max.
Sure.
Because people will tune you out. And they don't know. Well, what are you saying? What do you really want? So the more succinct it is, the more clear it's likely going to be.
Yep. I love this because I think I'm going to start practicing this just on smaller, like maybe start playing around with it on smaller stakes. Like honestly, your example of returning something, whether it's in the store or on customer service on the phone or whatever, it's like you can practice this and and it doesn't have to. Yeah.
We don't have to jump into the deep end.
Right. It's a good way to start, right?
Yeah, start off with something more simple.
And for me, I could see one being if I'm in a restaurant and I get something about my order is wrong or incorrect, I go straight to like, well, I'm rude if I send it back. That's such an all or nothing, right?
It is. I'm rude. I'm a rude person.
Right. Or like, how dare I, whatever, right? They're going to think of this or that of me, right? It's like, okay, that's none of my business what they think of me, first of all.
That's right.
Secondly, what if I tried Dear Man?
Dear Man? Dear Man, and when we think about this, I think of our mission statement as a company here with Nystrom is to empower people to become their best version of themselves. And notice how empowering this is.
So empowering.
And we're not apologizing. We're being really clear about what we think we need. And we're approaching it in a way that's really palatable for other people. There's nothing rude. There's nothing aggressive or inappropriate about this. Is highly appropriate.
Yep.
And we do it with gentleness, like and validation, like we talked about with the give skill.
Yeah.
It's packaged nicely, and we have nothing at all to feel apologetic about.
Yep.
And have every reason to feel really confident in what we're asking. We may get it.
We may.
And
we may not.
Notice that dialectic.
Yeah.
And life goes on.
We'll live to see another day.
Yes.
Life is still worth living.
Life is still worth living.
Well, thanks, Brett. I can't wait to learn the next skill on everyday therapy.
Thank you as always for listening, and please be sure to leave us a review. While this podcast can't be a replacement for therapy, we hope you enjoyed our discussion today and join us again next time. Nystrom & Associates is always available to those who are struggling. If you find yourself in need of support and help, please check us out at nystromcounseling.com.